In Hualien County, there's a dumpling business staffed entirely by people with spinal cord injuries. The employees have varying degrees of physical disability, and they're given tasks tailored to what they can do. Even those with limited hand function have a role, like using a special method to peel eggs. This inclusive kitchen is not a charity. It refuses donations, and it focuses on instilling self-esteem and a sense of purpose in its employees. Our Sunday special report.
这道菜是我们员工最喜欢的，学问就是油温一定要高，火一定要大，大蛋。
Chen Shou-shih churns eggs over high heat. Not a chef by trade, this one-time music producer entered the kitchen to help spinal injury survivors.
水饺好不好吃？现在这个动作是最重要的，就是所谓的打水。
Today, all the culinary techniques he uses are self-taught. He also experiments with dumpling fillings.
好，这个姜蒜弄好，因为今天要做的是麻辣水饺。
Today we're making spicy mala dumplings. In our experiments, we found that if we use the same amount of sesame oil as we usually do, that would cover up the spiciness. So for our spicy mala dumplings, we've cut back on the sesame oil by quite a bit.
To make flavors that impress, Chen is always trying out new recipes.
哎，你们也要吃啊？口味会不会太重？
我吃不会，我吃还好。
Taste tests are a must, and all employees must agree on a flavor profile before production. This rigorous process ensures that each dumpling is a delight for customers.
可以吗 ？OK 吗？
可以啊 ，OK。
She places filling onto a wrapper before handing it to her husband to seal. For Tsai Mei-ya, wrapping dumplings was once a solo task before she injured her left wrist, but now the job takes two to complete. The rest of the dumpling production line is staffed entirely by people paralyzed from the waist down. All of them are seated in wheelchairs.
所以，如果只断在颈椎的话，那当然我们可以想见的，这些患者他的手跟他的脚的功能就是完全丧失。
If the injury is along the cervical spine, there can be a total loss of arm and leg function. If the thoracic spine is affected, arm function can remain intact due to the injury's location. So in the best case scenario, a patient with a spinal cord injury can use a wheelchair to get around, but most patients are bedridden.
In this kitchen, production is slower compared to other commercial operations. But Chen has created a workplace that values inclusivity over speed and output. The employees themselves decide how much they can do each day based on their physical capabilities. Chen adjusts order volumes accordingly.
这个数字是代表什么？
刚刚我包的那个韭菜的那个盒子。
哦，这20盒。
对，20盒。
脊椎损伤者，因为他每一个伤有就是受伤的节位不一样。
Every spinal cord injury is unique, affecting different parts of the body, so not every task is suitable for everyone. I create roles to fit each person's abilities.
Guan Xingwei works skillfully at speed, and it's hard to believe that he can't control his fingers. Now in his mid-30s, Quan was hit by a drunk driver at 17. He was left paralyzed from the neck down, and with weakened, deformed hands. Chen spent 2 months devising a suitable task for Quan, peeling eggs.
我们还是失败了一段时间，因为那个时候我们找不到诀窍。
There was a lot of failure at first. We couldn't figure out how to do it, so we ruined so many eggs. We must have tried with 10,000, 20,000 eggs. Finally, we discovered that the trick was to roll the egg, not peel it. My palms still work okay, so I could roll the egg to remove the shell.
Standing in a sub-zero freezer, Chen checks on dumplings made the day before, which will be shipped out today. In 2013, Chen launched a fundraiser to subsidize electric wheelchairs for spinal injury survivors. He raised over 10 million NT dollars in a year. Due to the campaign's success, he initiated another in 2015 to expand subsidies nationwide. Juan's first electric wheelchair was one of those he funded. For spinal injury survivors, electric wheelchairs offer a way to get out and about. But Chen wanted to offer more, namely a sense of purpose.
那我现在马上查
那如果是做手工艺品或者是一些不是民生必需品的话
If you're making handicrafts or other non-essentials, it's impossible to become self-sufficient. So I decided to have survivors make frozen and refrigerated foods, because those are everyday goods people need.
The dumplings have gained fame through word of mouth, but the operation hasn't been without setbacks. When it first began in 2020, it faced a level 3 national alert triggered by COVID-19. It's also seen the departure of key staff, a temporary shutdown, and 10 straight days without orders. On several occasions, Chen feared for the future of the business.
如果主动厨房是一个社福机构，靠捐款才能够存活。
If God's Kitchen Hand were a charity, it could lean on donations. And actually, the staff wouldn't need to come and work. I could just raise funds and distribute them every month.
An experienced fundraiser and marketing specialist, Chen could have navigated the pandemic by accepting donations, but he refused to do so because the mission of the establishment was to ensure dignity and purpose for his staff.
我们是用自给自足的方式，他一定要工作，他才有工钱。
This is about self-sufficiency. A fair day's work gets a fair day's wage. And what they make, I have to sell. That's how I earn my salary. All the survivors know that their dumplings are bought by people who enjoy them.
有那种对家里有一点责任感吧。
I feel like I'm fulfilling my responsibility to my family. I'm no longer idle around the house, not knowing what to do with myself. My wife complains if I ask for even a little bit of money. So it's better to have some income of my own. Makes it easier to buy things.
应该是话比较多吧。
以前是怎么样？
就是没有很常讲话。
I think he's become more talkative. He wouldn't say much before. He'd be muddling around aimlessly. Now he's gotten terribly chatty, and he's more cheerful.
对我们差不多都是出货当天早上起锅的啦。
The employees make dumplings for a wage, and Chen sells them to earn his. He also works to expand the customer base. When his business makes more than it sells, he donates the surplus to people in need. Over the past 3 years, he's donated over 6 million NT worth of food.
我推广的就是以购买取代捐款的理念。
The concept I promote is buy from us, don't give us a handout. The feedback we've gotten from sponsors is that they feel buying is more meaningful than a direct donation.
就把它多塞一点了，能多塞一包，它就可以多吃2天了。
Chen drives out to visit spinal injury survivors who live alone. He chats with them to see how they're doing and find out if there's anything they need.
这一次好久没来，吃饭了没？
还没有。
还没吃饭。我那边如果有宿舍，如果我再提供住宿。
Now, if I had a dormitory near the kitchen, if I provided a dorm, you could work there Monday to Friday. And of course, your job would be tailored to your physical abilities, to how your hands are. I'd create a job you could do.
林桂珍，
阿伯，
来了，这要放在冰箱哈。
好，对，我来处理。
Driven by his Christian faith, Chen is committed to serving people with spinal cord injuries. He's inspired like-minded people to join his mission.
你现在所看到的这一栋建筑物啊。
The building you see now was built because Hualien has very narrow terrain. It's very challenging for spinal injury survivors to travel here for work. So we set up this factory with a dorm so that it's easier for them to get to work.
当时花莲
during his past fundraising campaigns, Chen got to know many entrepreneurs, including construction company chair Fang Laixing. Fang has been deeply moved by the changes he's seen in Chen's staff.
他真的是对他本来是很自卑的，你知道吗？那个心情都很不好的。
This spinal injury survivor started out with very poor self-esteem, very low spirits, but after receiving his first paycheck, he was able to go to his wife and children and say, I have money now, I can treat you to a meal. I'm not a useless person. I'm still a person with purpose. When I heard that, I was extremely moved.
With his expertise in the construction industry, Fang built a factory behind Chen's home. The factory has a spacious kitchen and a staff dormitory. In the future, Chen will be able to give jobs to 50 spinal injury survivors.
现在的话赶快那个让
Right now, the goal is to accommodate their survivors as soon as possible, to give them a place to stay.
Besides employing survivors himself, Chen hopes to inspire corporations to see the potential of people with disabilities.
现在的工作成果，包括我们迁入厂房之后。
Our successes as a business, including our successes after we move into the factory, I want to demonstrate that spinal injury survivors are quite capable. I want the bosses and managers of Taiwan's big food companies to see. With some inclination, they could draw up a small workforce within their own factories so that spinal injury survivors could work. For these corporations, it would not be an additional burden. This would offer comprehensive care for survivors across the country.
A simple dumpling can be the start to rebuilding self-esteem. Chen and his staff want to give hope to all spinal injury survivors and show them how to create change for themselves.